help you.
Yes.
Right, we also do have with us Rachel Mwikali Mueni, ED, Coalition for Grassroots Human Rights Defenders, Kenya. Thank you so much, Rachel, for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
And we also do have with us Hortense Minishi, Deputy Executive Director and Head of Programs, Kellen. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Right, ladies. So we're going to dive into this conversation, which has different angles. You know, in general, we're calling it is a spate of killings, but in it has abductions, we have femicide, and we also have extrajudicial killings, right? And we're looking at this from June 25th. You know, right from when the protest began. And of course, when it comes to femicide, that's been happening for quite a while now. Now, let's begin with femicide as we go into these other, you know, unfortunate scenarios. That it's all an unfortunate scenario, but let's begin with femicide. So in the past 3 months, the stats of ladies or women killed is 97. You saw that the president urged, security agencies to, put a firm hand and be on the lookout. Now the citizenry on anyone who may be, who may be looking funny, who has, particular behaviors or so, and that everyone should be on the lookout for that. So he's put an order on them. And at the same time, we also do have, the history that has been of this particular case. So it's not new. So what do you think of the president's statement today?
Okay, so for me, I must say the highlight of today, it's been a busy day, one of those days that all of us were looking and watching. And for me, the highlight was he actually spoke. I remember when he was speaking, I was like, you're about to say, thank you, FIDA, but he didn't say, but he made a statement that we acknowledge that definitely there's a problem. Our girls, our sisters, our mothers are being killed. And for me, in as much as perhaps we wanted him to say more, the fact that he talked about it sends a very good signal to the country, because we needed that to come from the president, and yes, he did. So for me, that is good, but there is much, much, much more that needs to be done. Right. But we must appreciate that he spoke about it.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, you're part of the, the presser about this particular dynamic being declared a national disaster, femicide being declared a national disaster. What kind of action or action points do you expect going forward now that the president has mentioned this,
Okay, so after today, we expect that we should see some actions from the relevant state enforcement agencies, because he spoke and he said we need a firm and decisive action to happen. And indeed, after today, we expect that we will see more arrests being made. What we've seen is lack of commitment. What we've seen is laxity. So we want to see this laxity and lack of commitment to be in the past. Moving forward to November, we want to see arrests being made. We want to see prosecution being done. We want to see cases moving, because enough is enough. After today, the president has spoken, we have heard him, but we want to see, so that we move just from rhetoric to action. So we tend to see a bit of action moving forward. And indeed, civil society, we are there to ensure that this action must be seen.
Okay.
Yes.
And how do you feel about, now you said law enforcement has been able to prosecute, thoroughly 90% of the cases. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like it is really, done in a way that there is justice in this matter?
I don't think there's justice, absolutely, because the laxity, even if you look at the statement that we saw from the National Police Service, it's like it's not really serious. 97 women have been killed in the past 3 months, but we're just talking about it like it's something that should be happening normally. So that kind of lack of commitment, that kind of laxity, that kind of approach where it's not a big deal is what we want to stop seeing in this country. So moving forward, we should see some seriousness from every sector that is involved in this issue. Okay. Right from the civil society, as a sector, we want to make sure that we do what we need to do. And moving forward, even the judiciary, we want to see cases moving, even if it means being given case, timelines in terms of how fast should you prosecute. But things have to move. We cannot afford behaving like it's normal. It is not normal. Right. The brutality we've seen, really, if it doesn't move us, then nothing will move us in this country.
Right.
Yes.
Rachel, I'll ask you the same thing. What do you feel about the president's sentiments today, femicide?
Interesting, but also I'm disappointed, to be honest. One, when we started, also being part of End Femicide KE movement in Kenya, when we started in 2018 during Justice for Sharon, we had the same statements and we had the same petition that we took to the office of the president to say that we want to declare femicide as a national disaster. And this was the time also the former president, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, was the president. And looking also in terms of the follow-up of cases, in 2019 also there was a big vigil at the University of Nairobi, where also we had duty bearers, including even the former CS for Interior Security, Matiang'i, and also women governors and duty bearers who committed that they are going to put action into it to ensure that femicide become a national disaster, and then also there's mechanism being put in place to ensure that women are protected. So today, seeing the president of Kenya saying, and also still also putting in the narrative of victim blaming, that people should be watchful of the stranger, I feel is a big letdown for me as a Kenyan woman. I feel it's a big letdown that we are not safe, but still the president will not acknowledge its femicide. We have seen what has happened in Kware, where also the perpetrator was arrested, and then it happened all of a sudden, there was a prison break, the perpetrator disappeared from nowhere with zero accountability. Where else also we saw the government spokesperson who was able to acknowledge there's an issue of femicide in the country, but still the president was silent. Seeing also 97 lives of women and being taken as if it's not life is a very problematic. If you ask me even, it's disappointing seeing even the former CS Kindiki also being put in as the vice president of this country, where we have seen also during his watch as the Interior Secretary Minister, women were being killed and there's zero accountability for those women. So for me as a Kenyan woman, I feel very disappointed. I feel this is just sugarcoating. I feel this is also like trying to make us feel we are okay because we are going to 16 days of activism so that women will feel our government care about us. Our government doesn't care about us. Our government, I feel we're in a war in our own self, that where we have voted for people to be in power, to be able to protect us, and they're not protecting us. Judiciary also has been a big letdown. Did we have to wait until yesterday when the Chief Justice spoke for femicide to be taken serious? We have had cases as End Femicide Movement in Kenya, which is a movement of different social movements, different organizations, and individuals, where we went on the streets of this country on 27th of January, saying that we are tired, we are scared, I don't want to be scared, that we're being killed, and we are not humanized. We are being killed, but families are not getting justice. And most women, if you see, femicide is linked to gender-based violence, but there's zero accountability. Right. We have seen cases taking more than 6 years for you to get justice. These 97 cases, they're just the ones that have been documented. What about the ones that are not documented? And for me, this I'll tell Kenyan women, we are in our own, and we need also to occupy this country, because this country is not protecting us. This country is not giving us safety and security, and if you ask me, they should all resign. Okay. Yeah.
Right, Hortense, I'll ask you the same thing. What do you think of the president's sentiments today?
So I'll join my co-panelists in saying it was good that he spoke. I think thinking back through the years that femicide has been an issue in Kenya, there have been different times that the media has reported this. It has been a headline over and over again, without recognition, without state action, without a commitment from, the government saying they're willing to do this. And yet, we have several international laws that Kenya has already ratified and signed. We have regional laws that Kenya is part of. We have the Constitution. We have, national laws that protect the rights of women. Yet, we still fail to protect these women. Women are still being left behind. And therefore, there's still a gap that exists. I think it goes beyond just saying that we are recognizing that there are femicide cases. Mm-hmm. It's what we do next, is the action that we take next. And in this case, there's a big gap in terms of prosecuting, investigating these cases. If we look at how the impeachment process has gone by so quickly, why can this be done for cases that relate to gender-based violence, that relate to femicide? Why can't we have a 2-week, judgment, a 1-week resolution of a case? Why is this not happening? Is this not as important?
All right, I hear you. And with that sentiment from Hortons, we're taking a short break. We'll be back right here on Friday Live. Stay with us.
Multi bonus. Zidisha ushindi wako hadi 1,000 na multi bonus